Hey Fernanda, my name is Christian Osmo, and this audit is going to walk you through some weaknesses and strengths your website may have in terms of design and optimization. Just for a bit of background, I've been a web designer for about a decade. I currently call London home, but I grew up in the tech world of West Coast of America. I specialize in something called conversion rate optimization, which means that I build websites that sell better, get more subscribers, gather more leads, and convert better. I'm not here to comment on how good or bad your design is because those are subjective, but I will use my data-driven knowledge to tell you what sells and what doesn't. So, with that said, let's get into it. The first thing that I notice when I go onto your website, and let's just refresh it, is that you have a really beautiful picture, and that's good, but it depends on what kind of style you're going for. I can see that a lot of your photography is very bright. I mean, there's a lot of dark stuff too, but this is probably the one thing that I noticed right away is that the picture that you used on here, the very first picture is very dark. And I mean, you have a lot of dark photography, so that's maybe not such a bad thing, but I just want to make sure that you're making a conscious decision about that. There are a lot of very light pictures in your everything here as well. Okay, the second thing is what you really want to watch out for here is that you are using a call to action. If you go to like one of my websites here, if I were to go to for example, I should know whenever I get to a website, I should know exactly why I'm there. Now obviously I'm going to be looking at photography if I get to your website, but if I get to this one, for example, and this one might not be as aesthetically pleasing as yours, but I know exactly right away. Why don't I just take a picture of this really quick and I'll show you what I mean. If I get here, I know exactly why I'm here because of that. I'm here exactly because it is the best skill swapping tool for the lean entrepreneur, etc. And as soon as that happens, what happens is as soon as I know that, I am right here. This is the call to action, the submit button. What do you need done? Submit. And that's exactly the point. So if I go to your website and I get here and I say, okay, what's the next step? I'm looking for, naturally, if you go into, why don't I use black ink here? Naturally, if I get into a website like this, everybody, this isn't just me, this is everybody, they go from left to right, their eyes go from left to right, and they go from top to bottom. And so if you don't have anything directly from the left to the right, definitely directly from the top to the bottom, and I'm talking about the middle here, you are losing people. So right away, they don't know exactly why they're there. They might scroll down, but statistically speaking, people will leave this website right away as soon as you don't show them exactly what they're looking for. Now, how you do this is you create a call to action. Like this website right here where it says, what do you need done? And I have, a different version of this as well. This is one that we're working on right now. This is a different version right here. So this is call to action. Share the best, gain from the best skill swapping out from the. I know right away exactly what this is, and right away, let me just take a picture of this again. Right away, these people are reading from left to right, and they're reading from top to bottom, which leads them exactly to right here. This is exactly what I want them to press. And around 90% of people who get to this website press that button. Now, what does that button do? Oops. Press down, delete screenshot. What does that button do? It takes them all the way down here, which is exactly what I want them to do. So then they click this again, and it takes them to a sign-up form. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, what exactly do you want your customer to do, your potential client to do right when you get to this page? That should be, I'm going to take another screenshot here. There should be something memorable, use a pencil, something memorable, a catchphrase or something. The reason that you are the customer, that you are the photographer for them goes right here. Maybe it's, the best travel photographer in Mexico or something along those lines, and then you have a call to action right here. That could be a button. It could be them putting in their email address. It all depends on exactly what you're going for. That's something that you have to decide. Okay, so from there, that's that. The next thing is that, there isn't a whole lot that I can fault other than that. Oh, no, sorry, excuse me. Another thing is that, statistically speaking, what helps people along in kind of creating customers, creating your getting people to sign up with you or to look more at your website, what you need to put something below. Taking a lot of screenshots here. You should not end the website right here. This line right here, there should be something below it that they can see right away. And so right here you have 30 days to launch. Okay, well, what are you launching? That's kind of the question that the customer, or sorry, the viewer looks or sees or asks themselves in their mind. And so yeah, keep that in mind. So the best websites, what will happen is you will have a picture. It will be very, very much very like landscape mode, and what will happen is should cut off right about there. Ideally, you can make it here like the last one as well, but ideally, statistically speaking, the best way is to cut it off right here, and then below this you're gonna have something else about reviews or about your photography was featured in blah blah blah. This is something that's compelling the viewer to actually act on booking you or whatever. Okay. Okay, so other than that, I can't really fault the homepage. I think this is really good. Sometimes the monotony in our lives will not let us see all the textures and colors the universe gives us. I think maybe it's a little bit too much text, but again, you have English and Spanish here, so that obviously adds something. I think that there's something really compelling about this. You have a nice picture right here, welcome to my world. And you're showing these people who you are, and that's what a business is all about. It's all about connection with people, and it's all about creating something compelling and adding value to people's lives. And I think that you do actually a really good job of that. You obviously show people what they came here for. They're here to see examples of your work. They're here to see exactly what it is that you can do. They're possibly here for your blog posts down here. I think that this is actually laid out pretty nicely, and so beside what I see from up here, I think that the homepage is actually pretty good. I like the movement, maybe a little bit too much, but it's not too bad. And you have your testimonials. I think that I would move I think I would move this up to the top. Like, I'm not sure exactly. Maybe even all the way to the top, because that's really what people want. They want to see, somebody else enjoying your photography. I think what I would put here, like I said, you cut it off halfway down the page, and then just below that, still, this is called the fold, which you can see when you first get to the website is called the fold. Still in the fold, I would put probably testimonials or, yeah, I think that's a really good thing to do. I think this is good. It showcases the fact that you're bilingual. Maybe you're from Mexico, but you do. I'm a wedding photographer based in Cabo San Lucas with a smile as big as her heart, and of course a good sunset hunter. I think that's really good. It tells your story a little bit. But again, I think that testimonials are more important. I would put them right here. Okay, scroll down. I don't know what Thank You is, but if somebody knows who that is and they come to your website, I think that they might want to know that. That might be more important. Something that you can put like up at the top, like as in a featured in button right here, and then just below that your testimonials. I like your testimonials. Cool. I highly recommend her outgoing personality. Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think I would take this, the recomendado por Thank You, and put it up at the top. Your Instagram, I don't know exactly how important your Instagram is, but it's potentially important. I think I would make the pictures bigger. Okay, let's see. Let me go around to your about pages. People are only going to find this if they really want to know who you are, so this is good. It's fine. Galleries. Yeah, no, I think this is really good. This is pretty much exactly what you'd expect to see. Which you shouldn't, which sounds kind of bad when I say it out loud, but you shouldn't stray too much from what people expect, because the reality is if they see something unfamiliar, they're probably going to just kind of leave. And I think this is really good as well. I really like that you, let me show you this, that these don't move. A lot of the times people make these move automatically, which is a no-no. It's definitely not what you should do. But you do allow them to, let me switch this to red. You do allow them to scroll through them if they want to. Actually, I think blue's better. Which is actually a great feature. The fact that it doesn't scroll through automatically is really good, because people tend to leave as soon as that happens, because too much movement is not a good thing. Okay, let me go there. So I think that all in all, it's pretty good. I've laid out the suggestions I already gave you. That's it for the design aspect, but there are some other problems here. Now, if you go into, this is your load speed. This is more the technical aspect of it. Now, normally I would only test this from like the from the website's target market. So, like me, for example, I'm more London than anything else, but I guess I do have customers all over the world. But I imagine that you have more customers in more diverse places. So, if so for that reason, I'm testing from 4 different locations around the world. I tested from Sweden. Oh, something happened. This actually did work earlier. Hold on. What was the next one? I'll go ahead and test this again. It might take a little while though. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'm testing this one from San Jose, California, which is, like San Francisco area, and this 2.38 seconds is not too bad, but it really needs to be under 2 seconds, and I'll tell you why in a minute. San Jose is probably the closest place to where you live. I imagine that California, because you're from California, what is it? Baja, what is it again? The Baja California del Sur, I think. I forget exactly. Something like that. So California, this is probably going to be the closest testing server to where you live. And I imagine that a lot of your customers come from California. That's my guess. I don't know. So this is going to be the most significant one. And it's really important that you get it under 2 seconds. And again, I'll tell you why in a second. Going through, see, that's weird. I tested this one too, and it just stopped working. So this one, I'm going through the list here. First, I tested in Stockholm, then I tested in San Jose. Now I'm testing in New York City. This one might have a little bit of a wait time. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll wait for a minute. And then this one from Melbourne, Australia, which I imagine you have some customers there too. And so it's important. Now, this ends up being, this is going to have a profound effect on how your customers interact with your website. The problem is that if customers have to wait more than 2 or 3 seconds, most of them are already gone. And that's just the reality of it. It might load faster on your computer because it's something called cache in your browser. But if this number right here, is more than 2 seconds, you're in trouble. And I understand this is, which one is this? This is Melbourne, Australia. So most of your customers probably come from over here. But, it might change again if you test again. We'll see. 1 second. Running test. Yeah, see, it got a little bit better. Got under 2 seconds, which is good. I aim for all of my clients' websites to be under 1 second. That doesn't always happen all the time. But you'll see in... Oh, man. I should have taken screenshots. What's going to happen here, I imagine you have a lot of customers all over the United States, probably not just in California. So this number right here in New York is also very important. 7.76 seconds, 7.27 seconds. The only one that got better is San Jose, California, 7.66 seconds. So you can bet that your average first-time viewer is seeing this in 7 to 8 seconds. And if you're over 2 seconds, if you're over 3 seconds, about 40% of them will leave before your website has even loaded. And so this is a huge problem. If you're over 2 seconds, you have made it above Google's threshold. So what happens when Google sees your website as being slow, they will they will give you less traffic. So somebody who's like searching for your services might not be able to find you. And so, again, this is a big problem. You need to have it under 2 seconds or you're basically toast. And so the best way that I could suggest doing that is by switching to a different host. I won't pull up your who's information on here, but I saw that you're hosting with Bluehost. which is kind of a crappy host, to be perfectly honest. They're cheap and they work when you're first starting out, but they're not good enough for when you actually have customers coming to your website. And so what I would suggest, I host all of my clients on my own servers, and I do keep them all under 2 seconds, and I aim for 1 second for all of them. But if you want to go with just a host and that's all you want to do, these guys are a great solution. They will host your website, and it's really fast. It's also really expensive though, compared to Bluehost. I think Bluehost is something like $5 a month. WP Engine starts at $29 a month per install, which is obviously a lot more expensive. So it's something to consider. But new hosting is probably should be your number one priority. If you don't want to go with a new host, you can put a CDN on your website, which will speed it up some, although it probably won't do everything that you need it to. Cloudways is free, and it works really, it works. It does its job. CDN is basically a series of servers around the world that cache your images and your JavaScript and CSS files, and it will make your website faster a little bit around the world. And so, if you don't want to switch hosts, this is a free solution that will make it a little bit faster. And so yeah, that's the next thing. The other thing is that I noticed the biggest problem with your speed. I mean, the biggest problem is probably your host, but the second biggest problem is this right here, your page size, 15.9 megabytes. That should be about a megabyte, 1 megabyte, not 16. And the reason is because of your giant images. Now, I understand it's a photography website and you do need to have larger file sizes, excuse me. But this is just way too big, even for a photography website. And so what I suggest you do is optimizing them. You can compress your images with minimal loss. Computer screens and iPads and everything can't actually show your images at such a high resolution anyway. And so there are general rules that you follow for the internet. And for print, it's like 300 ppi should be your pixel density on a digital image. But on the internet, it's usually 72 ppi. And that has everything to do with the way that screens show images. They can't actually, even though you have giant files, they can't actually be shown in all their glory, basically. And so the best thing that you can do is to compress your images, bring them down to 72 ppi, bring them down to, like 1,000 megapixels width, and you will have a much better time, a much faster website. Although you still will be constrained by Bluehost. So that's my best suggestion. Next is an SEO check, and I've already done this already, so I kind of know what to say, but I'll take you through it here. It's analyzing the website. Give me 1 second. There it is, finished. Okay, so basically, you get a D+. That's what that's saying. And this analysis will walk you through some of the issues. It won't tell you everything, but it'll give you something. So, meta tag description. This is like it says right here. Meta description is important for search engines to understand the content of your page. This is just the description of your website. Yours does not have one. Keyword consistency. If you're trying to, this is SEO stuff. If you're trying to rank in Google for a certain keyword, you need to kind of keep consistent with your keywords. I wouldn't say that's the most important thing, but it is something that you can change. Your images need absolutely this right here. So basically, image alt attributes, especially for a photography website. These are very important right here. Image alt attributes. Basically what they are is alternate text that shows if your images don't show up, and because your images are so large, there's a good chance they won't show up if somebody has like a slow internet connection. And so practically speaking, they just tell the user what is there if the image doesn't show up. But and they also will describe the image to like a blind person, for example, who happens to be using the website. But Google loves to see them, and they will mark you down for not having them. We found all 37 of your images on the website do not have alt tags, so that's something that you definitely need to change. It's not that hard. It has to do. It depends on, what content. And actually, what content management system? Oh, what content management system are you using? Let me see. Oops. Yeah, I thought so. Using WordPress. Okay, so since you're using WordPress, it is really easy. You can just go into the. Actually, I'll show you exactly how to do it. Hold on. What website? Here's one of my. It's my blog. I'll just show you really quick. If you go into your images, for example, you can just click on an image. You will have to do this for all 37 of your images individually. But if you go into, this is a picture of my wife. If you go into the image editor thing here, your alt text is right here. For alt text is less important for me because I am not a photographer. But it is something that I should stay consistent with. But basically, I can say something like it's just a description. Oops. Pregnant wife stands by the Thames River in July. Something like that. Thames River in July. I'll say in Richmond, London. And yeah, that's it. You have to press save. Where is it? Okay. So then that's it. Image alt attributes. That's important. Number of backlinks. This is not some. This is difficult. This is obviously going to affect your SEO. But it is something that's harder to control. This is basically who has linked to you. Now, for somebody like you, in order to get good quality backlinks, it would be a good idea to try and get featured in a magazine or something like that. That's probably the best way that you can possibly do that. And what will happen is if you, especially depending on how big the magazine is, what will happen is Google will see those links and they will say, oh, this is an important website. And so we need to respect that. And when people search for photography in Cabo San Lucas, for example, they will find your website. It's all dependent on backlinks. Broken links, good that you don't have any friendly URLs. Robots.txt. This is really, really important. Robots.txt and the XML sitemaps. These things right here are important. And they basically tell Google what's on your website, and Google will not really crawl your website if you don't have them. So these are, now that I've seen them, they're probably a top priority. This is definitely something that you should take care of. It's as simple as adding there. You can go onto like the WordPress search and look for XML sitemap maker, something like that, and it will generate one for you automatically, and then you can submit that to Google. But that's not the point of this video. And then analytics. Google says they don't use analytics data to figure out how important your website is, but there are some theories out there that basically that's wrong. So I would definitely get Google Analytics. Even if you don't look at it, it's important to have. Usability, it looks good. It's great that this is mobile friendly. I wouldn't say that tap target sizing is that important. Performance, this is the big problem, and this has to do with your images. It has to do with your scripts on the page. Server response is on the high end right here. So let me try to explain these one by one. Server response, this one right here, this is the first time, like if I tried to go to your website, this is the first time the server responds. This is going to be all your host's fault, basically. And Bluehost isn't that bad if there's only one website on, but if there are multiple people on, this gets worse. This is going to end up in the red. As soon as you get any kind of traffic, this is in the red, and this is why Bluehost really sucks. This is, it puts it in green, but I would say that's not ideal. All page content loaded, that doesn't include your images. That's like the words and everything. So because it's green doesn't make it good because you don't have a lot of content to begin with. All page scripts complete. This is really, really bad. 13.1 seconds. Be really careful about that. And again, that comes back to your host. That comes back to your images and kind of how efficient your whole website is running. Let's see. Delete screenshot. No. Total page size. Again, this is what I've been talking about the whole time. This total page. Oops. Total page size. This has everything to do with your images. It's all the way in the red, and so this is really bad news. And as you can see right here, it's, let's see, image, if I can just circle that, image is 16.18 megabytes, the purple one here. That's most of your website. I would say you need to compress those images. This looks all right. Number of resources, that looks pretty normal, although it's, again, I told you to optimize your images. This is what I've been talking about the whole time. Optimize images. That's very, very important. Minification. This is your optimizing your code. The first one here is about images. This one is about your code, like JavaScript and CSS files. This is something that you can get a WordPress plugin to do, although I generally advise against just going with the nearest WordPress plugin. You should start with a theme that works really well, that just does it automatically. You shouldn't be relying on plugins, but you can get a plugin that will do this for you. It will minify. Look, search for something like WordPress plugin minification, something like that. W3C. This is all right, but it's not that important. Oops. Duplicate HTML inline styles. Okay, this is bad too. This is basically just another inefficiency. This inline styles right here. It means that you are. I don't need to describe it, but it's just an inefficiency. So something like CSS, which is a coding language, will be used like within the code rather than in its own file. And this probably comes down to the theme that you're using, although it's hard to say for sure. Yeah, and that's basically it. Obviously, there's the social media stuff, but that's not really what I'm focused on. Oops. Let me just drop some. Yeah, and that's it. So I hope that was fun for you. If you're not too insulted, you can check out my company's website. It's osmosislabs.com. Osmos spelled with a T because it's my surname. OSTMOSIS labs.com. All jokes aside, I hope you're not insulted. All jokes aside, it's nothing personal. Most people think their website is the best thing in existence, and I do sometimes hate telling people they're wrong. Starting a business and building a website is a real accomplishment, so mad props to you for having a website in the first place. This video, this information is free, and I really, really hope that it helps you by itself, but I do get paid to help people get to the next level. So if you want to do that, just let me know. Send me an email. I can go into more depth about all of this, and I can fix things for you. So yeah, just